I'm Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster, and our two most welcome guests. Thank you. Reflections. Tomorrow night, Safe Credit Union will hold its, I think it's 75th annual meeting. And I will attend as a board member. And it will be my last meeting as a board member because I have come off the board. I have served 20 years on that credit union board. And it's time to move on, and I understand that. It's kind of bittersweet, but it's time to move on. So a reflection of my credit union experience might be appropriate at this time. I was trying to recount how many years I have been a volunteer at credit unions, and I think it's something around 30 years. And I started off in Bowling Air Force Base serving on the education committee. Not too sure what I did, but I served on the education committee. And that was fine. Didn't know what I was doing, but they took me under their wing and said, well, we'll help this young man. I was a staff sergeant, I think, at that time. So then I got transferred to Okinawa. And I served on the loan committee. Now that was much more enjoyable because then I could approve and make loans for the military. And I did that for quite a few, well, the entire time I was in Okinawa. Came back and I wound up in Hawaii earlier on, and I served at credit union there at Wheeler Air Force Base. And I really learned what I should do and what I shouldn't do as a director. I served on the supervisory committee, and supervisory committee you have to have a surprise audit annually, because that's what we're supposed to do. That was fine. I negotiated with that. The only thing is I didn't tell the CEO of the credit union that Monday morning you're getting audited. And the auditor came up the back steps, knocked on the door, and she opened up the door and whatever. Anyway, I survived that. And then, so I continued on, and then eventually I got transferred back here to Sacramento. And I got on the board of Mather Federal Credit Union. Served there for quite a few years. Went overseas with the CEO to tour the 5 branches we had in Greece and Turkey. And for a moment I considered, in fact they offered me the position of Vice President of Overseas Operations. We couldn't negotiate that to my satisfaction or to my wife's satisfaction, so we killed that idea. So from there, I actually got elevated and then was chairman of the board of Mather Federal Credit Union. When my term was up there, a little credit union called Sacramento Grange Credit Union, all of $3 million in assets. And I got on the supervisory committee there and eventually the board chair, and I did that. And I said, you know what, I'm ready for something big. I'm ready for the major leagues. So I applied for SAFE to be on their board. And I did not get selected by the nominating committee the first year. That's okay. The second year, though, I thought, well, I'll run from the floor. And you have to get 100 signatures from members, which I did. And the the CEO, who I knew very well, said, you want to go to the branches and set up a table? We'll let you do that. So I set up a table at 3 separate branches, had my flyers, looked real professional. I looked like a banker. And I had a great big jar of chocolate candy. And as they come in, I said, hi, I'm Herb Long, and I'm running for the board of directors of Safe Credit Union, and I'm asking for your vote. And I gave the chocolate. Anyway, I did get elected. I unseated an incumbent. So that was 20 years ago. And my tour, as you will, as a board chair, when I first came on the board, there were probably 12 or 13 members on the board. It has to be an odd number, if you're interested. And if you look at the board, there was mostly old white men. Old white men. And since then, the board has evolved. So when I come off tomorrow night, the board is now 9 members, and 5 of which are women. And that's good. That is good. It is now more reflective of our membership base because we have all kinds of people on that board as opposed to old white men. We still have a few of those hanging on, but it will be an interesting process Wednesday morning, or Thursday morning, when I get up and I don't have to read the stuff from SAFE. I probably will anyhow, and I don't have to respond, and I don't have to make sure that I am representing one of the actually the second largest credit union in Sacramento, and probably one of the best reputation-wise. So that's what's going to happen to me on Wednesday night, get up Thursday morning, and I'm on my own. So now what am I going to do? Obviously, I'm too young to give up. I'm too young to retire to the recliner. So I've got to have something to do. And I'm not too sure what it is. Now, I'm still on 2 Toastmaster clubs, and I'm still chair of Sacramento Crime Stoppers. But, you know, I can do that pretty much in my sleep. As I said to a lady last week, I think I'll go back out to the SPCA and walk dogs. And she misunderstood me, and she said, well, they pay pretty good for that. And you can walk up to 3 or 4 dogs at a time. I said, oh, no. No, it's socializing the dogs. You take them out of their pen, you walk them around, and then you bring them back in and you spend some time with them. I've done that before. So that's a possibility. Now, my wife may say, well, maybe you can spend some more time and work on these honey-do lists. But I had learned a long time ago, if I had to earn a living with these, I'd have starved. So there's no sense starting now. So I'm not too sure what's going to happen to me on Thursday morning. Am I going to look for another Toastmasters club? I don't think so. Am I going to look for another volunteer organization to get involved with? That's a very strong possibility. Because I probably will do most anything to keep from staying home. Have you met my wife? That's being unkind. She's quite ill. So I'm not too sure what the future holds for me. But it's going to be strange not to pass out that SAFE card as a director, not to walk into this branch up here, and they greet me as I walk in the door. They greet everybody, but I'm not special. They greet everybody. So I'm not too sure what's going to happen. So in reflection, it's been a good 20 years on SAFE, 30 years in the credit union movement. What's next? I'm not sure. Madam President.